At 2:13 a.m., a ballot seller whispered outside my door. 3 people bought from him, and the next morning, they were gone. Night in the small town of Blackwood, Nevada was always quiet. Too quiet. The wind moved slowly through the empty street of Cedar Lane. Old street lights flickered above cracked sidewalks. Most houses were already dark. Only one sound was moving through the night. A strange voice. A slow voice. Balut. Balut. The sound echoed through the cold air. People in Blackwood had started hearing this voice 3 months ago. No one knew where it came from. No one knew who the seller was. But everyone agreed on one thing. The voice never sounded human. Jason Miller heard it again that night. He was sitting inside his small apartment on Maple Street, staring at his laptop. Then the voice came. Closer this time. Balut. Balut. Jason slowly turned his head toward the window. His heart began to beat faster. He stood up and walked slowly to the curtain. Outside, the street was dark. Then he saw him. A man, standing under the street light. The man was holding a small basket. Inside the basket were eggs. Balut eggs. The man wore an old black jacket and a dirty hat that covered his eyes. Jason felt strange. Why would someone sell Balut in the middle of the night in Nevada? The man slowly lifted his head. Jason quickly stepped back from the window. Something about that face felt wrong. Very wrong. Jason waited a few seconds. Then curiosity pulled him back. He looked again. The man was still there, standing completely still, not moving, not blinking, just whispering. Balut. The street light flickered. For a second, the man's face became visible. Jason's blood turned cold. The skin looked gray, almost dead. The mouth was stretched into a thin smile, but the eyes were completely black. Jason froze. His breath became heavy. Then something impossible happened. The man slowly turned his head and looked directly at Jason's window. Even though the curtain was half closed, Jason stepped back again. How did he see me? He whispered. The man stopped calling. The street became silent. Completely silent. Jason slowly moved toward the window again. The man was gone. Just like that. Gone. Jason opened the window and looked outside. Empty street. No footsteps. No sound. Only the cold wind. But then he saw something on the ground under the street light. A single Balut egg. Jason stared at it. Then he noticed something strange. The egg was moving. Very slowly. Crack. A small line appeared on the shell. Jason's eyes widened. The egg cracked open, and something small slowly crawled out. Something with tiny black wings. Jason slammed the window shut. His heart was racing. What the hell was that? That night Jason could not sleep. But the next night, the voice came back. And this time, it was right outside his door. Balut. Jason's heart almost stopped. The voice was right outside his apartment door. Slow. Cold. Whispering. Balut. Jason stood in the middle of his living room. Not moving. Not breathing. The hallway outside his door was dark. Only one weak bulb was glowing above the stairs. Then he heard something. Footsteps. Slow footsteps. Walking across the hallway floor. Step. 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 Jason moved closer to the door. His hands were shaking. He looked through the small peephole. The hallway looked empty. But the voice was still there. Balut. Jason whispered to himself. This is not real. Then suddenly something moved into the peephole view. Jason jumped back. A face. Someone had moved their face directly in front of the peephole. Jason slowly leaned closer again. His eye met the hole, and what he saw made his stomach twist. It was the same man from the street. But now Jason could see him clearly. The skin looked pale and cracked, like old paper. The lips were dark purple. And those eyes, those horrible black eyes. The man slowly smiled. Then something thin and long moved inside his mouth. Jason realized it was a tongue, but the tongue was too long, too dark, almost like a snake. Jason stumbled backward in fear. Then the man spoke again, but this time the voice sounded different, deeper, hungrier. Jason, by Balut. Jason froze. How does he know my name? The door handle slowly moved. Jason stared at it in terror. The handle turned slightly, but the door was locked. Then the man outside began scratching the door. Slow scratching, like long nails dragging across wood. Screech. Jason covered his ears. Then the scratching stopped. Silence filled the hallway again. Jason slowly walked back toward the door. He looked through the peephole again. Nothing. The hallway was empty. Jason opened the door a little. The hallway smelled strange, like rotten meat. Then he saw it. Another egg, placed carefully in front of his door. Jason picked it up. The egg felt warm. Too warm. Then it moved. Jason dropped it immediately. The egg rolled across the hallway floor. Crack. The shell slowly opened. Something inside moved. Jason backed away. A tiny creature crawled out. It looked like a small baby bat, but its face looked almost human, and its mouth was full of tiny teeth. The creature turned its head toward Jason. Then it screamed. A high-pitched scream. Jason slammed his door shut, locked it, and pushed a chair against it. His entire body was shaking. Then his phone vibrated. A message from his neighbor Emily Carter from apartment 3B. The message had only one sentence. Jason, did you hear the ballot seller too? Jason quickly replied. Yes. Emily responded almost instantly. Don't open the door. Jason typed back. Why? There was a long pause. Then her next message appeared, and Jason's blood turned cold. Because 3 people in this building already bought from him. Jason stared at the screen. What happened to them? Emily replied. They disappeared. And right at that moment, the voice returned again. From inside the hallway. But this time it was louder. Much louder. Balut. The scream of the creature was still echoing in Jason's mind. He sat on the floor of his apartment. His back was against the door. His hands were shaking. Outside, the hallway was silent again. Too silent. Jason looked at his phone. The last message from Emily still glowed on the screen. 3 people already bought from him. Jason typed quickly. Who? A few seconds passed. Emily replied. Apartment 2A. Old man Robert. Apartment 4C. Couple named Daniel and Lisa. Jason swallowed. And now they're gone. Another message appeared. Yes. Jason felt a cold weight inside his chest. What do you mean gone? Emily started typing again. Then she sent a voice message instead. Jason pressed play. Her voice sounded terrified. 3 nights ago the ballot seller came. Robert opened the door. I heard him talking to someone in the hallway. Then everything went quiet. Jason listened carefully. Emily continued. The next morning, Robert's door was open. Jason felt his heartbeat rising. What happened? He whispered to the phone. The voice message continued. There was blood on the floor. A lot of blood. Jason's breathing became heavy. But Robert was gone. Jason stood up slowly. Then Emily's voice became even quieter. Last night Daniel and Lisa bought ballot too. Jason's eyes widened. And there was a long pause in the recording. Then Emily whispered. I heard screaming. Jason felt chills crawl across his arms. Terrible screaming. Jason walked slowly to his window and looked outside. The street was empty, but the streetlight was flickering again. Emily's message continued. When I checked the hallway this morning, their apartment door was open too. Jason whispered. No, there was blood everywhere. Jason closed his eyes, and they were gone too. The voice message ended. Jason stared at the screen in silence. Then suddenly, Balut. Jason's head snapped toward the door. The voice was back, right outside again. Balut. Jason backed away slowly. Something moved under the door. A shadow. He could see the shape of 2 feet standing in the hallway. Not moving. Then the shadow bent down. Jason saw something slide under the door. A small piece of paper. Jason stared at it. Slowly he walked closer. He picked it up. 3 words were written on the paper. Buy or die. Jason's blood turned cold. Then the doorknob moved again. This time harder. The door shook. Jason grabbed the chair and pushed harder against it. Then a voice whispered through the wood. A horrible voice. Not human anymore. Jason, I am hungry. Jason's heart pounded. Then the whisper turned into a low growl. Very hungry. The scratching started again. Louder. Deeper. Like claws tearing into wood. Screech. Jason stepped back. The door suddenly stopped moving. Silence again. Jason waited. 1 minute. 2 minutes. Nothing. Finally, he walked slowly toward the peephole again. He looked through it. The hallway was empty. But something was written on the wall across the hallway. Jason felt his stomach twist. Written in dark red letters. 3 eggs. 3 souls. And under the message, 3 ballot eggs were sitting on the floor, slowly cracking open. Jason did not sleep that night. He stayed awake until morning. The sun finally rose over Blackwood, Nevada. The light came through his window. Jason opened his door carefully. The hallway looked normal again. No blood. No eggs. No message on the wall. Everything looked clean. Too clean. Jason walked down the hallway toward Emily Carter's apartment. Apartment 3B. He knocked on the door. No answer. He knocked again. Still nothing. Jason tried the handle. The door slowly opened. His stomach tightened. "Emily," he called. Silence. Jason stepped inside. The apartment smelled strange, like something rotten. Then he saw the kitchen. Jason froze. The table was covered with Balut eggs. Dozens of them. Some were cracked open. Black liquid covered the table. Jason backed away slowly. Then he heard a sound behind him. A weak voice. "Jason." Jason turned quickly. Emily was sitting on the floor in the corner of the room. Her skin looked pale. Her eyes were tired. Jason rushed toward her. "Emily, what happened?" Emily looked at him with fear. "He came last night." Jason felt cold. "The Balut cellar?" Emily nodded slowly. "He knocked on my door." Jason asked quietly, "Did you open it?" Emily shook her head. "No." She pointed toward the table. "But he left those." Jason stared at the eggs. "Why?" Emily's voice trembled. "He said something." Jason leaned closer. "What did he say?" Emily whispered. "He said the town owes him 3 souls." Jason's heart pounded. "Why 3?" Emily shook her head. "I don't know." Then she looked directly at Jason. "And Jason," her voice became weaker, "there's something you need to know." Jason felt dread rising inside him. "What?" Emily grabbed his arm. "If you are still listening to this story, make sure you hear the end." She took a deep breath. Because the Balut seller is not just a man. Jason felt a chill run down his spine. Emily whispered the final words slowly. "He is an Aswang." Jason stared at her. "What's that?" Emily's eyes filled with fear. "A creature that eats humans." Jason looked at the eggs again. Then he noticed something horrible. Inside one of the cracked shells, a tiny creature was moving, and it looked exactly like a baby version of the Balut seller. Jason stared at the tiny creature crawling inside the cracked Balut shell. Its black eyes glinted in the morning light. It let out a small squeak, like a baby crying. But its mouth. Jason's stomach twisted. The mouth had sharp teeth, too many to count. Emily whispered, trembling. "It's learning. It grows faster than normal humans." Jason wanted to run, but fear rooted him to the spot. Something deep inside him screamed that if he left, it might follow him. He looked at the table full of eggs. Dozens of them, some cracked, some whole. "Jason," Emily said, her voice shaking. "He doesn't only feed on humans. He collects souls." Jason's mind spun. "Souls? What do you mean?" Emily pointed to the living room corner. A faint shadow moved across the wall. "Look," she said. "They're here." Jason followed her gaze. The shadows were twisting shapes, almost like smoke, but they had faces. Faces of the people who disappeared. Robert, Daniel, Lisa. Their eyes were empty, their mouths open in silent screams. Jason's hands trembled. "They're trapped." Emily nodded. "The Aswang collects them, hides them in the eggs, and feeds on their fear. That's why the eggs move. That's why they scream." Jason felt his throat tighten. "Then why did he leave some here?" Emily looked down at the floor. "Because he's testing you. The Aswang chooses its next target carefully. He wants to see your fear. He wants to know if you will survive." Jason felt panic surge. "We have to destroy the eggs." Emily shook her head. "It's too late. Once an egg hatches, its creature can escape the apartment. And once it escapes," she didn't finish. Jason noticed that one of the cracked eggs was moving faster now. The baby-like creature was crawling across the floor, its tiny claws scraping the wood. Its eyes locked onto Jason. Jason grabbed a chair, ready to smash it. But Emily stopped him. "Don't. You'll anger him. He's watching. He's always watching." Jason turned toward the window. Outside, the street was quiet. Too quiet. Then a shadow passed across the wall outside. The Aswang's silhouette. A tall, thin man with a crooked smile and black, soulless eyes. Jason realized something horrifying. It wasn't just outside. It was everywhere. Every crack, every shadow, it could see him. Emily whispered again. "Jason, he chooses the next victim at midnight. That's when he feeds." Jason's heart pounded. Midnight. Only hours away. And the Aswang was already inside, hidden in plain sight, waiting. Jason and Emily barricaded the apartment. Tables and chairs blocked the doors. Windows were covered. But they both knew it was useless. The eggs continued to crack. The tiny creatures inside crawled faster now, some even climbing the walls. At midnight, a whisper filled the room. Low, deep, echoing. "Jason, Emily." The Aswang appeared suddenly, standing behind them. Its eyes black voids. Its smile wider than humanly possible. its hands long, clawed, reaching out. Jason swung the chair at it, but it passed through the Aswang as if it wasn't solid. The creatures from the eggs joined, crawling over the floor, climbing the walls, hissing and screeching. Emily screamed, "Jason, what do we do?" Jason remembered the paper from before. "Buy or die," he whispered. Suddenly, realization hit. The Aswang didn't just want to kill, they wanted submission. Fear was the key. Jason shouted, "We won't fear you." The Aswang stopped. It tilted its head, black eyes studying them. Its smile faded slightly, then returned wider, horrifyingly. It let out a high-pitched screech that made the walls shake. The eggs cracked open entirely. Tiny, black-winged creatures emerged, shrieking. They circled the room. Jason felt their claws scrape his skin. Pain, cold, terror. Emily grabbed Jason's arm. "We have to escape." Jason ran toward the hallway. The Aswang followed, silently. Shadows shifted and moved, blocking the exit. Every turn in the corridor revealed another creature, another shadow. Finally, Jason reached the main door. He yanked it open. Outside, the street was empty. The Aswang was gone, or so he thought. Then he noticed something on the pavement. 3 ballot eggs, moving. Slowly, deliberately. Jason turned. Emily was behind him, pale, trembling. He grabbed her hand. They ran. But every streetlight they passed flickered. In every shadow, black eyes followed. The last scene Jason saw before disappearing into the night. The Aswang standing under the flickering streetlight, tall and thin, smiling. Behind it, countless shadows, crawling, watching, waiting. And then a whisper floated across the wind. 3 souls next. The world went silent. No one saw Jason and Emily again. Only the eggs remained. If you enjoyed this horror story, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on the bell icon for more terrifying stories.